They are a nuclear threshold state, and they have denied all along that they had any intention of doing so up to the present time. I think that is instructive. I think Senator McCaskill may be onto something here with regard to all of the options before us. My friend Senator Reid asked a question about, are we better off with a negotiated settlement or a military strike, as if those are the only two alternatives. Of course, we know that those are not the only two alternatives. I wish our European friends, our Western allies, had not been so eager to leave the sanctions regime, but they were. The United States could go it alone, and as the Secretary pointed out, we do have unilateral tools that would be effective. So, you know, continued trying to get a good deal, continued unilateral tools on the part of the United States, making people choose between banking with America and banking with Iran, those tools are there. Let me say to you, General Dempsey, I appreciate your service, and I appreciate the many times you've come before this committee. We've disagreed and agreed from time to time. It would seem to me that your brief 9-sentence opening statement to this committee today amounts to damning this agreement with faint praise, I have to say. You mentioned that there are 6 areas in which Iran is a bad actor, and you say five of these malign activities give us real concern, and you list them, but then you end and give us these words of assurance. Ultimately, time and Iranian behavior will determine if the nuclear agreement is effective and sustainable. That, sir, does not give me a confidence level, and I just have to tell you that based upon your very brief and I think tepid endorsement of this agreement. With regard to the conventional arms embargo, as late as the spring, we weren't hearing about this. General Dempsey, when did you become aware that there would be this huge relief from the conventional arms embargo, and isn't it a fact that it caught you by surprise?
Well, first, Senator, I would ask you not to characterize my statement as tepid nor enthusiastic, but rather pragmatic. And I've said from the start that relieving the risk of a nuclear conflict with Iran diplomatically is superior to trying to do that militarily. But I will sustain the military options in case that becomes necessary. As to your question about timing, I was consulted or asked for my advice episodically when military implications became part of the conversation. And probably about a week or two before the agreement was finalized, I gave my final recommendation regarding sanctions.
Well, that's very late in the agreement, and I would just say, it seems to me the advice that we've been getting on the other side of this agreement down through the months and over time, this massive retreat from conventional arms embargoes is something new and something very troubling. Let me just say, Mr. Chairman, in the minute I have left, that the assessment of the facts and the assessment of the effect this agreement will have by neighbors in the region, I think is so instructive, should be so instructive to this Congress. And I don't blame my friends on the Democratic side of the aisle for having concerns also. It is striking that from right to left, every ideology within the country of Israel is opposed to this agreement. It's striking that the Arab neighbors, the Saudis and others, are alarmed at this deal. And I would submit to the record, Mr. Chairman, in the closing seconds, an op-ed by Ari Shavit, senior correspondent for left-of-center Israeli newspaper Haaretz, in which he says the Iranian negotiated team succeeded in destroying completely the sanctions mechanism. He points out that the United States, European Union, Britain, France, Russia, and China recognize again and again Iran's right to develop advanced centrifuges, which could be 5 to 10 times bigger than the capacity of the old ones. This means, Mr. Shavit concludes, that the international community is not only enabling, but actually ensuring the establishment of a new Iranian nuclear program which will be immeasurably more powerful and dangerous than its predecessor. I submit this article for the record, Mr. Chairman,
Without
with a
objection.
great deal of concern. Thank you, sir.
Senator